Hello and welcome to episode 551 of the Awesome Comics Podcast, a place where a small press makes one hell of a big noise. My name is Vince Hunt, and joining me as always is the artist and creator of Vanguard, the epic webcomic that you should all be checking out and catching up as it starts.
His name checked in the interview as well.
As it starts its final run, that's Mr. Dan Butcher.
Hello.
And if you wondered who that other voice was, well, he's always here to amuse us with his pop culture asides. It's Tony Esmond.
Fucked. For those that don't know, Dan looked us all up on was it ChatGPT, and it said I was full of pop culture asides. Get fucked.
That's one thing that, I always look forward to every week, Tony, is your pop culture aside.
Stick that in your ChatGPT algorithm, you twat.
This is, Vince is enthusiastic, knowledgeable about comics, and brings a playful sense of humour to the show.
Playful sense of humour.
There you go. A little bit, it didn't talk about my spice and sexual magnetism, but
Well, Dan Butcher, he's thoughtful, but also great and friendly partner. Fuck off.
Oh yes. So there you go. But you know who we are, listeners.
Yeah.
And if you're new to the show, welcome. We're diving into the world of capes and superheroes this week.
What you can and can't do with them, or shouldn't do with them, I suppose.
There's not much you can't do with them, to be honest.
Yeah. And Gary does most of it in issue 1.
Yes. Yes, we're joined by Gary Seaward, who obviously long listeners may recognise the name from Legacy, Idols and Bones. I got that the right way around, didn't I?
That's right.
I always worry, yeah.
Go check.
So we're going to talk a little bit more about that comic and a little bit about what's to come or what it does without any spoilers. We managed to avoid it, which is quite good, because if you read the comic for yourself, there's some shit that happens. Hell. Yeah. Stuff actually happens.
Yes.
Which doesn't always happen in comics, does it?
I've got that as a subject to talk about in one of my recommends later.
Really?
Interestingly enough, yeah.
Well, we've got a bunch of recommendations and comics talking topics to get through. So join us on the other side of this bit. I say this bit, it's the interview. It's the main part of the show, so I don't know. But we're going to save all the other comics rambling and us talking about what do we normally talk about?
The arse end.
The arses and ends.
Arses?
Yeah.
Arse ends.
Asses.
Why did you say it like that?
I think you should cut
You
it
sounded
after
like Bjork. No, you sounded like Bjork.
You should cut it after arses and then straight into the...
Do you know what? I'm going to cut it there.
Welcome to the show, the writer, artist, creator of Legacy, Idols of Bones, Gary Seaward. Hello, Gary. How are you doing?
Hi, thank you very much. Thank you for having me. Yeah, very
Pleasure.
Good to have you, mate. It's been a bit chaotic when you came on.
Yeah. There's a real energy in this room. But the book is one that obviously regular listeners will have heard a few times. When the Kickstarter was available, and obviously it was part
we reviewed it, recommended it a couple of months ago. The first issue, didn't we?
I can't recall if I backed the Kickstarter.
I think finally was about August last year.
Oh, was it that longer? Okay, cool.
Wow, blimey. Time flies, doesn't it? I don't know where it's going. So obviously we're delving back into the superhero genre and sort of the book itself and the subversion of the superhero genre, of which Dan has, as always. Dan,
got a few notes together.
You got a few, some absolute quality content coming up. I think before we get stuck into that, we briefly touched on the book, but for perhaps new listeners, like Legacy, tell us more about the book and like how it actually came to be.
Oh man, I'm okay to go off wandering on a tangent here. Yeah?
Please do. It makes it easier for us.
The idea of just the characters probably came to me in like 2008, and that was probably literally just the characters. And then you sit on it and you're doing your work and you don't do anything about it. I think I tried drawing about 13 pages, absolutely hated it, just threw them away, never looked at it again. And then it got to 2020, and obviously COVID happened in 2020, so I was on furlough the whole time. So I was just sort of like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to start working on this comic. So I reckon I got probably about 12 pages drawn, another 12 pages sort of laid out. And then COVID came to an end and you're back to work and you just sort of go, oh no, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Forget about it. And then I'm just sort of sitting around, a year or so ago now. And it's like, I work from home a couple of days a week, or freelance a couple of days a week. And obviously, work is very sporadic. And I'm like, why am I not working on that comic? Why am I not doing it? Why aren't I? What's stopping me from doing it? So I went back and looked at the pages and I was like, these aren't as shit as I remember. These are all right. I wanted to prove to myself that I was really going to put the effort in. So I was like, okay, I'm going to get this to 48 pages before I release it. So I, polished off the pages I was doing and got those done. I think actually one of the major things, as we say, going on tangents here, and we're talking about sort of superheroes, I really wanted to create a comic that did have that sort of like action and like 90s and, I was a massive Spawn fan and sort of things like that. And I was reading an Avengers comic. I'm not sure who wrote it, I can't remember, or an Avengers trade. And I'm flicking through it, and it's just talking. And then it got to a panel or a page where all these massive like kaiju snakes all appeared, and they're on this island. And I'm like, oh, we're going to get a great big battle action scene, And then turn the page, and you got Thor standing on top of a massive snake, like, ha ha ha, we defeated them. You go,
Yeah.
This is a comic. Where's the action these days? What happened to like actually doing some action in it?
This is the few comics I've ended up editing. That's been my main preoccupation. Is one comic had us show the action in the face of a young child who was surprised at it, and I'm like, no, you got fucking spaceships battling each other.
Yeah.
It's a bit like the end. Me and Dan often moan about the end of the second June movie, which is rather than all these spaceships going out to this sort of galactic jihad, you've just got the face of Chani watching them leave, and we're like, what happened to the budget? Did something happen to the budget in the last scene? You can show it now, and you've always been able to show it in comics.
And I'm not saying I'm the greatest artist that's going to be able to show it, but I just sort of thought, well, I want to give it a go. I mean, crying out loud, I sort of love my comic, but I'm willing to admit that it's going into territory that other comics have delved into. I mean, crying out loud, the monster in the first issue that battles the two superheroes, where one is basically a Superman and one is basically a Batman archetype,
but I felt that was purposely done, which is I guess why I compared it a little bit to The Boys when I recommended it.
But the monster they're fighting is called Reordain, which is literally, I just took the first couple of letters off the word for ordain, which means doomsday.
Right, okay.
I mean, I was just like, if two superhero characters fought one of these massive monsters, people are dying. People around are dying and people are getting hurt. And as I remember you, Tony, saying that the comic opens with a sort of War Machine type character. And he's got his mini guns and they're at a beach and he's fighting. People are going to die. People are going to die.
And of course,
doesn't matter how good your superhero is. They can't.
I think using the archetypes of like you can key into people's expectations already, and then straight away play with them, either subvert them or it's a handy little shortcut.
I just wanted to show that not necessarily if it was real, but if it was realer than Marvel, which I love Marvel. But if it was, people get hurt and people get killed and there are consequences. And I think this is what we're going to go into with the discussion. But
that kind of permeates through the title, doesn't it? Because obviously stuff happens to the characters, which is like, you're literally not going to walk that off. It's
pretty brutal. Like,
yeah.
And that, I'm hoping, as I listen to the podcast a lot, and as you guys say, a lot of writers and artists blow their load in that first sort of issue or two issues. I'm really hoping that there's enough other sort of surprises and actions and things that happen that people won't see coming.
I think you're right, because you've done it as it's a very long first comic, Gary. That's how I felt about it. And I think with the limitations of small press, where it doesn't come out every month, I think you need to do that. And there is plenty of content loaded into it already, I think.
Yeah, and it'll, as it carries on, sort of everything that's in those first 48 pages is touched back on.
Yeah. Okay.
The characters reappear and things happen, and I'm hoping that, I feel it's probably, even though it's 48 pages, it's a quick read. It's not a, you're not.
Yeah. No, it breezes past, I think it's the nice phrase. Yeah, it does. It really does, man. Yeah, I feel that. And it opens on such a fucking bizarre opening as well, which I loved. There's a real switch and bait early on, isn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah, with this sort of dinosaur alien story going on, and then suddenly we're thrown into the actual timeline. I really like that.
Hopefully one day all of that will come back into play as well. It's
okay.
Sowing the seeds for it. I think we're kind of, when you're doing the small press superhero stuff, you kind of really got to go for it and put your foot down and try and deliver something that perhaps the bigger publishers can't or won't do, because they've kind of got limitations. And like, if a character's like a big earner, you're not going to have them killed. Like, they're not going to have Wolverine decapitated or something. And
they're very worried about protecting their IP sometimes, aren't they?
Yeah. And sometimes that can come with the risk of not telling story. Like, that's like sometimes the Elseworld stories and the kind of the what ifs. Sometimes I find are a better read because they can do what they want.
I think what actually surprised me is when you sent me the link to sort of what we were discussing and, superheroes. And I was like, right, what superhero comics have I been reading recently? Because I love superhero comics. I do.
Me too, man.
That's what got me into comics, and that's what, growing up I loved. And I'm like, right, what am I reading at the moment? No, I gave up on that. Stop reading that. I'm not. I don't think I'm reading Incredible Hulk, which you wouldn't consider a superhero story. It's a Marvel IP, but it's not superheroes.
It's kind of a bit horror and has been for years now at this point.
Yeah, from Immortal Hulk to what they're doing now.
Yeah.
And then I was just sort of like, I'm not reading any superhero ones, because I think that all the mainstream ones, I sort of go, well, I think I'm done with them. Like, I might pick them up. I picked up Absolute Batman. I thought it was all right, enough that I'll get the second trade when it comes along.
Okay.
Still kind of felt that it was their IP, and I don't know, it wasn't. I know people are really enjoying it. I'm not saying I didn't enjoy it, but again, I still don't think it was as out there as some people say it is.
Yeah, I think it's a good comic in a field of not so good comics.
Yes.
That's the thing about the absolute line. I think they're good, they're competent, some of them better than others, but I think, if you go far enough back, you think, it would just been an okay comic in a field of good comics.
I mean, that's kind of similar to what the Ultimates was, wasn't it? The Ultimates was a real shot in the arm, but then again, at the time the Ultimates was coming out, what was it really up against?
And I've got all those original Ultimates, and Ultimate Spider-Man and the Mark Miller Ultimate stuff. But now, obviously, there's still an Ultimate line, and I think I was reading the new Ultimate Spider-Man, because obviously he's a dad and there's kids, and I'm a dad and I've got kids, and I'm like, that's an interesting new twist. It's something different. But I'm sort of like, have I missed a trade on that? Am I up to date with that?
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's okay. That's the way I feel about it. I don't think it's probably that, and the Black Panther comic's pretty good, I have to say. And I'm on a massive tangent, just a superhero tangent now. I see the rumours of Marvel rebooting their universe are gaining, aren't they? Right. There's quite a few people talking about it going a 52 level reboot.
Yeah. That's massive for Marvel, right?
Massive, but I'm worried because I don't think they got the talent.
This is the thing. And we kind of spoke about this a little bit as well, didn't we? But I would say in my DNA I'm more of a Marvel boy than a DC boy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
but I agree with you, Tony. I think the big hitters that you would need for a successful, massive relaunch of things like that, they're off doing other things.
And I don't know whether the editors and the editor-in-chiefs and all the people in power at Marvel have got the bollocks to bring them back.
Yeah.
And it'll be a cash injection to bring them back. They'll need it. It's a big thing. I just know they're going to start it again, and we're going to go back to the usual rubbish.
Yeah,
that's going to start.
I'd love to be proved wrong. but I think
I would. I mean, I liked the new 52 Man. I really enjoyed it when they did that.
I mean, Mark Millar's always saying he wants to come back and write Superman, and he thinks he's got the greatest sort of Superman story that's ever been told, and he's always talking about going back to either one of the publishers. But I'm not sure when it's going to happen.
I heard some talk of like Mark Waid won't. Yeah, Mark Waid. I heard somebody say the other day Mark Waid won't go back to Marvel. I'm not sure how true that is, but I think you need those people. You need the Millers, the Mark Waids, the Jeff Johns. You need all those people, Bendis even, to jump back into Marvel and say, right, 2 X-Men books, 1 Spider-Man book, 1 Iron Man. Just fucking wipe it down to 20, 25 books and just start again.
Is that because we'll pick them up, or because new readers will pick it up?
Well, I think with the Absolute Batman, it's proven, isn't it, that new readers will pick it, and the old readers.
But they need an electric shock, don't they? For instance, if you had even just the news of Bendis has gone back to Marvel full time.
He has. He went back this week.
But that's...
not full time, but he's just gone back and done an Avengers story.
What's the biggest selling Marvel title?
Sorry,
Tony, what's the big Marvel title at the moment?
I think it's still Ultimate Spider-Man, isn't it?
Okay.
I think Andy I've been talking to him from Secret Identity. I think he says that one of the Spider-Man titles, Amazing or Ultimate, is probably the biggest Marvel seller that I'm sure he said.
It's interesting, both the kind of the alternate universe versions of.
There's no baggage, I guess.
Yeah. In my mind,
it's a good team.
Yeah, in my mind, the top 3 titles for Marvel, would be like Amazing Spider-Man, Uncanny X-Men, and then an Avengers title. That's kind of
that's what you need.
That's the 3 that need to be.
But if you look at it now, it doesn't appear to be that the market can support a Captain America, an Iron Man, a Thor, a Captain Marvel. It can't support them.
One of the most recent Captain Americas, wasn't J. Michael Straczynski back on it?
Isn't it?
I know I did pick up a trailer.
Yeah, he's someone, but
this is okay.
It's not him, and I can't. The name's escaped me. But
this is the funny thing is, like when I actually started reading comics, the first thing I picked up was, I think it was a UK reprint of McFarlane's Spider-Man, but then I eventually, wandered into a comic shop one day, and I felt like I was on the outside of the outside, because I started reading Spider-Man 2099, X-Men 2099. Nomad, when it had 3 issues left to go. Obviously, I had no idea. I was a young kid picking up comics. War Machine.
Yeah.
God, what else was it? It was like, I don't know why. I was always drawn to the sort of like,
That's the outsiders ones, right? They're not the big ones.
Yeah. But that's where some of the interesting stuff's happening, I think.
Oh, Force Works.
Yeah.
Force Works.
Force Works.
Yeah, poor old West Coast Avengers.
Yeah.
Great Lakes Avengers.
It's only actually as I got older, and probably when the X-Men films started coming out, and then the Marvel films, that I was like, I'm going to start picking up some of these Avengers comics. I don't think I'd ever picked up an Avengers comic.
Okay.
Right.
Like the MCU had come along, and I was reading comics, but just the actual mainline ones, I still just had no interest. I mean, by then I was into sort of Spawn and.
I'm a bit like Simon Russell was talking about in the Slack today. I'm OG Avengers. I haven't got issue 4, but I've nearly got the whole run. And the newest thing is just...
He's kind of a bit underwhelmed about the
800th issue. It's one of these legacy legacy numbering thing. It's just fucking awful.
It's just like the load of the characters all with the kind of the same face, like no.
Yeah, the cover's awful. But they got Bendis and who did Ultimate Spider-Man with Bendis? I'm forgetting his name now.
Mark Bagley.
Mark Bagley on an Avengers backup, and even that's not very good. Even that, Yeah, it's a bit of a sort of one gag story.
One of the points I was going to say is, like, indie comics can kind of make subversions and stuff and don't reset, but we're just talking about the fact that Marvel are looking at doing a big reset, which is interesting. But the point I always go to with they always seem to go back to the old habits. They can't seem to make, like, I'm going to make a clean break, and then before you know it, Spider-Man's fucking going out with Mary Jane, and he's got a job at the Bugle and stuff like that. You know what I mean? It's always the same. I guess with the kind of indie superheroes, they're kind of a bit more off-road, and you can kind of do stuff with them that maybe...
Yeah, I think what's happened is Absolute has just cleaned the board sales-wise.
Yeah.
That's the thing. And they thought, well, fuck this, we're going to have to do that.
We're going to do this, yeah.
Yeah.
Have to make a change.
But even they're crossing over. I just got the Wonder Woman issue that's got Batman in it yesterday. Picked that up.
Okay.
So even they started. Yeah, we're massively off subject here, Gary. I'm apologies.
I do have that sort of they try and do that to boost sales from one to the other, didn't they? So look, this title's quite good.
Yeah, I mean Wonder Woman's getting the real critical buzz.
Yeah.
Of the books, Yeah.
I've started reading that again. I really like that one. But that's because it's metal as fuck. But
I'll tell you what does sell: women in their 90 with bloodied knives. That sells, Gary.
She will be seen again.
yeah.
I've seen quite a lot of her already, and I'm pleased. To be honest with you.
Let's be clear.
Everything in that first issue was sowing seeds for stuff that carries on. There's even sort of like so that you've got the sort of full page kids menu in the first one. And even that in issue 3, I think it is. I come back to why that was shown in the first issue.
So, do you have an ending planned, or is it kind of like an open story, Gary, that you just keep on kind of getting work on?
I mean, obviously, the only way that's going to happen is if it starts making money for me. It's definitely got what I would consider an ending with issue 6.
Okay.
But it's, as we're talking about all comics here, there are still characters left. There are still plot threads that you don't completely tie up. And if this is the problem, is that I had a friend help me write that first issue, the first 48 pages. I mean, I still think of it as 2 issues because it's 2 issues, but obviously it is 1 issue. And he helped me write that, and unfortunately he then had to step away. So now I'm writing it. Now we've got it all plotted out, quite tightly plotted out, all 6 issues. But I'm now having to write it, and that's a massive step for me because I don't know what I'm doing. I mean, it's just...
You seem to, man. You do seem to know what you're doing. I'll be honest with you. Yeah, it definitely holds together for me.
Well, I've shown issue 2 to a few people. Obviously, Dan's seen it, and a couple of my friends have seen it, and they're sort of like, no, this is really good. I think actually what you've done here with issue 2, really well carries on from that first issue.
It feels like it's written in the same voice. So
okay.
Yeah, I mean, my hand in that first issue because it was, it is all my plot, my characters, my idea, and I had a friend come in, and I was just sort of like, look, I don't know if I can write it. Can you help? More with dialogue and pacing and things like that.
Okay.
I think he did a fantastic job, and I wouldn't have been able to do it, and I don't think I'd be able to be where I am now to move on to issues 2, 3, 4, if he hadn't helped me with.
That's good stuff. Do you want to name check him here, Gaz?
In some ways, it is quite nice for me to now go, I know exactly sort of where I'm going with it, and I can write it the way I want to write it. It's just nervous at the same time, nerve-wracking, because I've never done it before.
Do you want to name check him, Gaz?
I've never drawn it before either, so...
Gaz, do you want to name check the other guy who helped you? Just see if he listens to this. He's going to want to hear his name, isn't he? So... David Schiff. There you go.
There you go.
I will give you.
Nice work, David. It's I think we touched on the point before, but like the kind of the fights in Legacy are very brutal, and people kind of walk away with injuries, and there's deaths. It's kind of what took you down that line. What did you want to kind of like?
I think it was just because. As much as I love the Marvel films, and they are aimed at the target that they're aimed at until you had Deadpool come along and join it, if you've got someone up there with massive machine guns and huge hulking great monsters, people get hurt, people die. There's injuries that you do not walk away from, which is what we're saying. And I think that, Marvel and DC, I mean, I don't read much DC and I'm not reading much Marvel, but they are targeted at a younger audience, and they can't go down that route. And I do need to probably read a lot more other independent, comics that are more willing to do it. And I've read, I think I did read some of The Boys when it first started coming out, and also I watched the TV series. I do think, certainly with like the TV series of The Boys, I do enjoy it, but it does feel like, porn violence for the sake of violence.
Yeah, there's this sort of...
The TV show went that way.
Certainly the TV show. And I don't think mine is that. And it's also... I actually kind of feel like the comic is more slice of life. I think I put something on Slack recently, or I know I put it certainly online, that I had someone put a comment on my global comics listing, and they were like, the art is not very good. I was like, oh, right, okay, I'm just a guy trying to make a comic here, but okay, it's fine.
Oh, so you're quite politeful in your reply. I have to say.
There's no point slagging someone off. I'm just like, don't think you should be saying things like. And he went, yeah, for I don't remember exactly how it was because I deleted the next one, but it was like, it's not good enough art for a raunchy comic. And I thought, well, it's actually not a raunchy comic.
No, I'd never have put it there.
A comic that has like nudity in it and sexual stuff. But that's everyday stuff as well. Okay, not so much with what Widowmaker does, but it's just because there's nudity and sexuality in a comic doesn't actually make it a raunchy comic. I'm actually not trying to make it a raunchy comic. It's just in some ways that's sort of like true to life. The violence is, I don't know, probably more stepped up than actual violence, obviously.
Yeah,
it is a
bit hyper-real.
Hyper-real. But why is it that nudity is more frowned upon than violence in comics?
Well, that's the massive argument, isn't it?
Yeah.
If we just go back to The Boys very quickly, I think people who've only seen the TV series and haven't read the comic are missing the humour.
Yeah.
The comics are a lot funnier.
And there's a lot of things about like multimedia stuff. They get caught up in the crudeness and like, oh, this is funny, we're doing this, and then they go overboard with that. And it's terrible because it makes me sound like a prude. But sometimes when you see some stuff, I'm like, there's no need to do that. You didn't need to do that. I'd rather have...
This TV series is very guilty of that.
Yeah.
It's looking for TikTok moments, isn't it? It's looking for
shock moments, isn't it? Sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm really hoping that my comic isn't that.
No, it isn't. No, and the good thing I like about Widowmaker is she's got a motivation, albeit slightly twisted. But there is a sort of almost like a Punisher-esque twistness in her motivation.
So her motivation, obviously, I don't want to spoil anything.
Yeah.
This is why people have got to read the comic.
Her
motivation does then play into future issues, like or it's. Since we're talking about subverting, it is subverted. Her motivation is possibly used. So yeah, she wasn't just there. I mean, because in some ways it feels like maybe she's just there to just introduce Carcass as a character, because that's obviously what happens. She's doing her thing, and he comes in. Yeah. But no, her backstory with the dad of Carcass and Eidolon very much plays into certain future events.
The Bobbit moment, obviously. But the thing I like about her, man, is the fact she looks like she can throw a punch. I'm so tired.
She don't fuck around
of two stone women.
America level kind of. She can. She wants to rip you apart. She'll rip you apart.
Yeah, she's got a pair of arms on her, isn't she? That's the thing.
It's that worrying thing of like, now I'm like, oh, is she going to be popular? Do I bring her back in more ways? Do you end up?
I want a one shot.
And her end up sticking her in a superhero suit because people are going to like the character, and you sort of go, I don't really want to do that, but
no, man. If your book's not dictated to by sales, just keep true to the story and the story.
Yeah, well, it will be certainly. With where
do
I'm
it anyway.
Yeah.
Don't fucking worry about sales. Just keep true to the story.
Oh,
people can sniff fake.
I am doing my best to, as I'm not making any money from it, to still treat it as a job. To sit there and go, right, for this 2 years maybe, I'm going to sit down in the 8 hours a day that I have when I'm at home by myself and go, let's get a page done, or as much of a page done as I can today. I'm already 4 pages into issue 3.
Nice.
And say hopefully by the time actually that issue 2 is on its Kickstarter and going live, or at the end of its Kickstarter, I'm hoping to have had 10 pages of 24 pages of issue 3 done, so there won't be nearly as much gap.
So how many pages?
Half the battle is consistency and regularity. Yeah. Half the battle with these.
How many pages is issue 2?
So issue 2 is 24 pages of art and then 32-page comic. Basically, all of them going forward, I think, will be 24-page comics of art of story, and then it'll either be printed at 28 or 32, depending on what else is in the back.
Yeah.
If I get Dan to draw me more pictures.
Everyone's gonna get Dan to draw on pictures at some point. That's 2026.
One of the books I've recommended tonight, I've got a picture in it. So there you go.
All right, recommend yourself, why don't you? That's
yeah. Bloody hell.
Well, if you guys ain't, I've got to.
Yeah. But go on, Dan.
No, I was going to say the kind of you've taken the with Adillion the kind of superhero as an icon that kind of gets subverted. I always enjoy that kind of stuff, and
Like Irredeemable and all that series of books from Mark Waid, they were good fun like that, I think.
But what's the key to making those sort of characters, to making an audience care about something like that?
Make them old and grumpy.
I mean, is it as simple as that? I mean, that's a tried, tested, and true formula, isn't it? It's like the grizzled old, the veteran sort of thing. That always works.
We're drawn to that, aren't we?
Yeah. I mean, it's just I was reading through the thing here. I've read I'd heard of it before, but I'd never read it. So I've read the first trade of Black Hammer today, and obviously that's got an older, somewhat older. They're all an older cast now. And they're all archetypes of your.
Yeah.
So I'd heard of it. I'd never.
I mean I've read it. Only a couple of those trades now, but I was really immediately bought into it because that's another successful way of. I mean, what that's done is building a universe by itself, but it's also taking the things subverting them, twisting them, and creating another universe out of it, isn't it? Really.
I think it allows a shortcut for us readers to go in thinking one thing, and it allows you to build extra upon it. The classic one in Black Hammer is it Barbalian, who's the Martian Manhunter character, who's gay, and then they play around with that because you're already accepting, okay, he's this shape changing. We know he's this shape changing character. We know he can change into human form. That's his human identity, and then it takes it one step further, and it makes it an issue about how gay people were treated and all this sort of thing. And it's I think it's the best one. Oh, sorry, I won't read it for you, but it's very good. Yeah, it's really good.
Another one on that list that popped out for me is Black Summer by Warren Ellis and Juan Jose Rip. That's fucking a really dark book. Like, it's one of those books I read it and it's like I don't particularly feel good about myself after reading that.
Who put that out? Was that
Avatar, wasn't it?
Avatar
Press.
Unfortunately, I looked for it, but it's not on Global Comics.
Yeah.
So.
Do you think like books like that are doing some strong stuff? Because Avatar always known for doing it's strong stuff. You have some of it. You got to have a real strong stomach for. Do you think in some ways that can work against some of these titles, like that particular one, where there's a lot of people who may not be able to get hold of it or might not know about it, and therefore it goes under their radars? You know,
I certainly think there's so many comics out now that getting heard at all, even if you're on a big publisher. I mean, certain Image comics out there, you think Image would be considered the third biggest publisher, but because of how it works, there's so many Image books out there that people haven't even heard of.
I get the old weekly list from Gosh, of all the comics coming out this week, and you think I didn't even know that was out. Never mind at issue 8. Yeah, it's like that sometimes. Yeah, I mean, we've also got, before anyone writes in, we've got to mention Watchmen, we've got to mention Marvel Man, Miracle Man.
Yeah.
It's not a new thing, this subverting the characters.
No.
Yeah.
That's, would you say the kind of Watchmen was the one that kind of did that to that point?
I think maybe and The Dark Knight started the trend again.
Yeah.
I think there had been Mirror Universe and, other universe sort of heroes coming in, and we'd had a bit with Captain America, hadn't we?
But it was sort of the reframing. It's like, this is not like a different distorted version. This is the real character, and they've got this shady shit going on the side. Obviously, got like Mark Miller's, when he did The Authority, a lot of people don't like his handling of the characters in the series after Warren Ellis left it. They feel like he went a bit too far with it. I'm not sure if I'm one of those people, but
I've read it. I don't remember a huge amount about it. I know that it was only, I'm going to say fairly recently, within the last year, that I finally read Batman Year One. I know, I'm sorry.
Okay.
And I think the problem was, and I guess I'm part of the problem with producing, these dark, violent comics, that I wasn't as blown away by Batman Year One as everyone's like, how amazing this book is. And I think the problem with it is it's amazing for the period that it came out, because it was doing stuff that wasn't being done in comics. But now it has been, and other people are doing it. And so it certainly reduced my enjoyment of it. And again, a lot of that comes down to people raving about something. You might just go in and go, yeah, okay.
Yeah, it plays with the expectations. I mean, it's a top 10 book for me, but I appreciate what you mean there.
I'd say like same
Yeah,
thing with
I didn't dislike it. It was just that thing of
you think that's been copied and done enough for you to be aware of it, yeah.
Many years ago, if I'd read it many years ago, I'd have been like, yeah, now this is Batman.
Yeah, and really, it was such a different thing to happen. I think reading it monthly as well. I think part for me is comics have grown up with us. You know, that's that old phrase, isn't there? That's a sort of much talked about phrase, and it's true. You know, as a kid, I was reading Ditko's Spider-Man, and now I'm reading, you know, Miller's Nemesis or something. They have grown up, and the readership is essentially older in the most part than it has been, and we're a cynical bunch of old bastards now, aren't we? So they're kind of right into their audience in a way these days.
And the way that comics is written had changed as well. So, and because I started writing issue 2, and obviously no one's read this yet, but I'd started reading some older books, and I'm talking about sort of Stan Lee era of books, and obviously everything was narrated. Like every single box had a narration of what was actually happening in that box. And you sort of go, well, that was obviously the thing of the time of like, you know, he runs and jumps with the speed of power so much, you know, et cetera, et cetera. You go, well, why are you telling me that? But I haven't seen it in comics for a long time. So there's several pages in issue 2 where there's narration that comes up, and you believe that it's a narrator talking. And I won't go into too much because again, I'm trying to subvert what happens. Dan's ready.
Yeah, I mean that's what Morrison did with Animal Man. You know, that is subverting the superhero. It doesn't have to make them grim and gritty. It just has to give them, you know, you know. And he did that with like you said, with the narrator there. Suddenly he's like, "What's going on?" You know?
Yeah, why is that suddenly there?
Yeah.
We do have the thing.
Damn it! Someone else has done it before me.
No.
Man, if we made a comic because someone else hadn't done it before us, we'd never make a fucking comic.
Yeah, I know.
Dan, as you know, and I'm very sorry to admit this live on air, that I hadn't read Vanguard. So I've now read 6 issues of Vanguard. I've had a manic weekend, but I've still read 6 issues. And I thought I was being really clever in my comic, having like pages of art that are like adverts, or as I say, the menu, or sort of other things that are separate from the comic but still push the story forward. And I was like, fuck, I'm clever. I'm so fucking clever. And then I start reading Vanguard and I'm like, fuck you.
Sorry, mate. It's a nice way of kind of like, a lot of that stuff is just bonus stuff that like that I need to.
It's also world building, isn't it? It's sort of like
that's what I was sort of trying to do. Yeah.
And it also emphasises how well respected and what, you know, how in society and in the zeitgeist your character is, because he appears on a menu for a colouring in,
and that's
you know.
the point. And as I say, it does anything there. In some ways, is there will be most of them will be touched back on in future issues. So although you sort of like it's just there as a page, and like you might skip over it, but hopefully you'll remember you saw it when it comes back in issue 3, and you see why it's there, what it means. That in some ways, and this is what I think you really want as an indie comic writer, or you know, and in producing indie comics, is you want people to go back and read it again, because you don't often go back and read comics. I think the only comic I often go back is Invincible, because that's my favourite superhero comic, which I'm surprised isn't on the list we've got, because I think
I'm surprised that's not on there. It's definitely.
But I definitely think that if you could go back and reread, I'm hoping, and there's things in the background I put in, like little characters in the background that, as you go into future issues, if you read issue 1 again, you'd go, "Oh, look, they were there." Things like that. It's.
I think we don't want
that.
Who's that? Sorry, mate.
Valiant used to do that, and it was fucking ace. They'd introduce a character in one book, and then like so many issues later, another book he'd turn up, and they were actually a big player. I used to fucking love that.
You know, if you can get people to reread the books, that's what you want, isn't it? Really?
I think the one we're missing off this conversation is Astro City as well, and I think there's a direct line between Marvel's, you know, the miniseries of Marvel and Astro City, not least the writers and stuff, but it takes the comic characters into real life in such different but interesting ways, you know. So the dude sees a giant man walk over his head, or the bloke's brother is a supervillain, and all this sort of thing. And I really like that. And I think rather than subverting, it's just realizing, you know, if that's a word, making it more real in the real world.
It's like reframing the story.
Yeah, that's a better word for it, mate.
I mean, a subversion it doesn't always have to be like everyone's fucking
evil
and
suddenly.
blinding and evil and
doing each other's back doors in constantly. Yeah,
I mean, Astro City is a fucking lovely read. I might crack
Yeah.
that book out. I've got a couple of trades that might crack them open because
Really
I,
good, man.
I tell you what, I've never. That's one of the ones I haven't read.
Maybe that'd be
so
next
good.
reading challenge for you,
Yeah.
babes. Yeah.
I haven't read much of it, but I have read, I think a trade of it in the past. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that does the same thing. Like it keys into archetypes. I think.
Yeah,
I know this-
because we
I
know
sort of
those
know this
archetypes,
character.
don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it plays about with it, which is an easy
What's the clown
thing to do.
character that's like
Yeah, I was
Spider-Man?
just thinking of his, and I can't.
Jack in
think
the
of his-
Box.
Right. Yeah.
I
And
mean,
it's just like
thing is, like we're using archetypes now because Stan Lee and all these other creators, I don't want to say they had it easy, but all they've got to do is keep coming up with lots of different characters and ideas, and it is more difficult to come up with new powers and a new thing.
Yeah.
So if you can just delve into that archetype, but then I suppose you go back, this is what we've always said, you go back to myths and legends and
well, for me, it's like always if you've got telling a good story, people accept like I'll watch a good man goes on a revenge mission film till the fucking cows come home because
Oh,
if it's
God,
done
yeah.
well,
you watch the
do you know what I mean?
ballerina, and I was a bit.
Yeah, maybe we're not that, but but do you know what I mean? If I kind of, as long as the story's done well, it can have it doesn't have to like reinvent the wheel. Just make it like a beginning, middle, and end, and you do it with competence. Like I'm up for that. I'm up for that.
I do think that the one thing a lot of people talk about in comics is maybe the villains are more interesting than the superheroes. And I think I'm definitely the other way here. I've tried to make the heroes it's much more of a story about the heroes and the sort of three leads. And in some ways, as I'm going through it, I need to start fleshing out the villain and the motivations. I mean, I have got them there, but I do need to flesh that out a lot more because for me, it's a story about the main three characters, the two brothers and his wife. It's a story of those three characters.
I think I challenge that comment, and you're right, Gary. We hear it all the time about the villains being more interesting than the heroes, and I don't agree.
Okay.
I think Batman's much more interesting than the villains. I read Batman constantly for Batman.
Yeah.
I read Spider-Man for Spider-Man. I read the Hulk for the Hulk. I don't.
I think that's a failing on the writing. If you're kind of it's like, man, if your characters you're writing are more interesting than the main hero, you're fucking up.
Yeah,
It should be if the comic's about Batman and like the most interesting character is Poison Ivy. It's like no.
we've had a few series recently where half the issue seems to be about someone else other than the main character, and I do get a little bit bored with it.
It's usually a fucking self-insert.
Yeah, it can be. Yeah,
a lot of it's because the writers doesn't have the background and the knowledge to write a kind of decent entry. Man,
and also they haven't invested in the history of the character, so they're afraid to write things about them. Yeah, I've seen it with Miles Morales recently. I stopped reading it. I just got bored with it because it wasn't about him.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really kind of galling in a way that I think a lot of people would want to write superheroes and they'd want to get everything right and add to the lore. And then people get the gig that don't really seem to give a shit and don't put their toe in the water because they know they don't know it. So they tell a kind of nose take story with a Z-list character that they've made up. Do you know what I mean?
No, I think you're right, man. I think
Well,
it's
they
all the
have
time.
to pick up an interesting new character because then Marvel or DC own it.
Yeah,
I guess.
I'm not sure if many of them could make an interesting character.
You know?
I think the other one that for me is the most subverted superheroes of all time was the Doom Patrol run at Vertigo.
Oh, yeah, man. That
I think
went off. Yeah.
unrecognizable, so off the rails. Just every other metaphor
Was
you
that
want in the world.
another character they had sort of like we've got these kind of characters, nothing kind of great has been done with them, if you know what I mean. They've got their ups and downs of stories, but it's like, right, they're almost like a blank slate. We can fucking just go nuts with them and take him off.
I also think Morrison had such a name of being this interesting writer who could do interesting things. We'd had the Animal Man just around the same time as well. And then we'd also had precedents of what Moore did with Swamp Thing and stuff like that around that period, stemming from the big explosion of comics between 84 and 86.
With a very interesting new idea for those characters for it to be accepted. You can't just fake that one.
Yeah, I think so. I think he was allowed to run with it, which I don't think we're seeing enough of.
The issue that you have with a lot of just these sort of characters as well, when these things happen, is it's fantastic when someone's coming on and they've given a new life and a new voice and you coat of paint to a lot of these people that may have been forgotten, not cared about. The issue is when someone else has to pick up the flame. and keep going.
Yeah, I think that's what you call the Tom King syndrome, Vince. With Human Target and Mr. Miracle and all this sort of things, where he's taking these, C, D, Z list characters and he's doing something with them for 12 issues and walking away, and you're like, all right, where does that leave everyone else? Yeah. There's definitely, I think, a case to be made there, undoubtedly.
Yeah.
As good as some of them are.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, when you have those sort of cases, you've got to read them as one and dones. Almost like they're just alternate versions in a way. They're just it's a little tale about that thing. It breaks down when it's part of a bigger universe. Now, these are all issues that a small press and indie creator doesn't suffer from, because we can kill our darlings. We can build these people up to break them.
Dan can kill everyone he likes in his comic.
He probably will.
Yeah, yeah.
But also, Gary, do you find because these have been long gestating characters and now you're properly sort of seeing through, is it a danger sometimes that when you're building up like a cast or a universe of characters, that some of them become more popular in your own head? So perhaps when you were first thinking of it, well, they're going to die off in issue 3, just hypothetically, they're going to die in issue 3. But then by writing them, you realise, oh no, I can't kill them now because I like them.
My characters definitely become personalities in my own head. I can't help but like some of them more,
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't know. Maybe because I'm still learning how to do the writing thing, and I'm very stuck to the plot line that we have. And obviously, I'll say issues written. I've only written 3 of the 6 issues so far. So I mean, by the time I get to, actually have to write the dialogue and everything, the actual issue 4, who knows if maybe that person will have to, come back in a little bit more or say a little bit more there, because I think they might be a bit popular. I mean, there's literally, because I am making it up as I go along in some ways, just other bits. So on the cover for issue 2, again, it's Kickstarter, so I put a naked silhouette of a woman, and then, some big heads. And I was like, okay, who's this naked silhouette woman on the cover of issue 2? I suppose I better create some female character to appear in issue. And then, and then I was like, actually, I really like this character.
That's fine, man. That's how it should work.
There's nudity on the
now
cover.
Going to stick around, certainly for probably the rest of the run. I don't know yet. But literally that character got created because I drew something for the cover for issue 2, and I was like, damn it. Now, if there's just a woman on the cover, people are going to be going, well, who's she?
I'm massively reactionary to anything I do, and I'm sort of actively the opposite of what I should think sometimes. I mean, if someone said to me, I really like your character, Crackhead Jane, then I'm going to kill her. Because it's just I just like to be that opposite,
Crackhead Jane, got to write that down. There's
isn't it? And you've said it. He's like, you can. Like, no one's safe. No one's safe.
Yeah.
It's interesting. We mentioned earlier talking about we kind of like that we've grown up with superheroes and we like to see the kind of the subversion of them. But on the flip of it, I know I'll probably speak for the other hosts here. I really enjoyed going back to the older stuff that was really carefree, and we did the Spider-Man issue over Christmas, and it's a fucking joy of just.
It was a joy, wasn't it?
Fun. Comics. It's kind of almost unburdened by this.
Not ground down by continuity and crossovers and muddy inky paper. And
does that mean when we want subversion in our comic book world, we don't want it with the things that exist? We want to experience it through the new things, like Legacy or Vanguard or something like that. We're more open to it. Do you think?
I don't know, man.
I had. Again, talking about Andy from Secret Identity, he advertised that he had an oversized reprint of the Superman versus Spider-Man, and I'd never ever read it.
Oh, was it you bought it on the Slack? I saw a picture of that. Yeah.
And I just think that compared to the covers that other people have been doing recently is just obviously iconic. So I bought it, and it is, it's an older comic. I'm reading it. I'm like, this is just joy. This is just joy.
Mate, one of my favourite all-time comics.
Nothing in it at all.
Oh, bits of that are just burnt into my retina, that comic. I love it so much.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's so beautifully drawn. and it's just a pure joy to read. And I certainly didn't want any darkness in that. I very much enjoyed
No.
that for what it was.
The Lex Luthor Doc Ock stuff is just amazing, and
it's just bonkers, but fun.
I sort of mentioned like one of the closing points about like having this subversion of like is the hope is hope the new thing, but it's like I feel like there's a kind of there's room in the market and the readership for both titles of like stuff that's upbeat and joyful and stuff that's kind of you don't have to have one or the other.
You can have Lego Batman, then
in the same world.
I mean,
fine.
The interesting part of it is this stuff is dark, but there is hope in it. I mean, it goes grim, but at the end, I mean, personally, if it ends like a fucking absolute misery, do you know what I mean? At the end of it,
you're like,
but you can choose what you want to read. Superman has those moments.
There's got to be a certain, there's got to be a certain element of hope to it.
Okay.
I mean, comics, there really is.
Yeah,
still.
Yeah. You know, I mean, even the Dark Knight, there's a certain. I mean, that goes.
Read anything Mark Waid writes on Superman, you'll think, he gets it, he knows it. It's just, there's some good stuff out there still.
Do you think when reading superhero comics generally, you expect that happy ending of it's going to be all right in the end? Is that a kind of baked in premise?
Tied up in a bow, and it doesn't.
I used to.
Make a difference.
I think.
And every event. I mean, I'm just talking what hundreds of people said before, but every event leads to the next event because there's never an ending, and they tie it up in some ways, and people might have had some movement or growth in that superhero, but it's going to go back, and maybe because we're older now. It's going to go back.
Yeah, because of the nature of like status quos and IPs and things like that. We almost can't expect too much.
No. Maybe I just dig out my Brian Bendis, Alex Malave Daredevils and just read them again and go, it's that character then, and I really enjoyed it, and it was a great run.
If you want to see universes where consequences mean something, you stick to your Black Hammers, your Ghost Machines. These new ones that are just sort of building up something. They're placing the dominoes so then they can.
Oh, the new issue of Geiger Man had me smiling. I loved it. It was so good.
Yeah,
he's got such a fun cast in that book now.
But that's
you got the two-headed dog, and you got the sort of Cosmic Night guy, and I love it.
But that's another example of there's wild and varied characters. There's elements of the stuff that we recognise. But they take that as an element. I mean, Junkyard Joe, for instance, just...
He's still in it, yeah. I sometimes all I want is the Hulk sitting at a table with the rest of the Defenders eating a can of beans. Sometimes that's all I want in my life. You know what I mean?
What, like Mongo from Blazing Saddles?
You've not seen it? They sit there and he goes, Hulk like beans, and he's eating this fucking big...
They have that sort of stuff in the animated ones, don't they?
I guess, yeah.
I mean, we talk about not ending, and as I say, Invincible is I think it's the best superhero comic that's ever been out there because it is a whole thing. I was absolutely, and I am still gutted that it ended, but in some ways then you're pleased that it ended because you've got your 29 volumes or whatever it is, and that character from issue 1 to issue 144, he's not the same guy, and it doesn't. And I'm reading and I'm enjoying Battle Beast, but it hasn't quite clicked as much with me as Invincible because I can't connect to that.
There's more of a soap opera with Invincible, isn't there?
Yeah.
And you liked him. You liked him all the way through.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. And Battle Beast is fantastic as a comic. I mean, the visuals in it are just amazing. Like, right now, you can't be beaten. But I still need to sort of go, well, I know what happens to this character, and he's not a likable character at the moment. But with, that Invincible run, just think it's
great.
Yeah, it's sublime, isn't it?
Great ending as well. It's just, winner chicken dinner.
Yeah.
But it's the same with, I mean, what we're talking about here is the same that's happened in movies, the same that's happened in TV series, the same that's happened in, to a certain extent, novels. It's changed. Some of it's gone down and dirty and gritty. We don't have Magnum grinning at the camera every week anymore, do we? So some of it hasn't, I guess. But
I think one of the advantage that the independent superhero has, and its creators, is like we can end it. Do you know what I mean? It's not someone else's and when the story's done, and if you want them to ride off in their sunset and be happy, you can. If you want them to die tragically, you can. You can do all of that, but we can end it. You know, we can talk. We can get on the soapboxes and we can talk about what we'd like to see from your Batmans, your Spider-Mans, or whatever. But at the end of the day, that will never ever end. There will be no and he was happy. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Because they've gone beyond being a creator's creation to being something that exists. It's a product. It's an IP.
I agree, man. But I think we still need those moments. And I think best example. I don't mind the end of an arc. There's a happy moment. And the best exemplified by that Christmas issue with Spider-Man flying over, swinging over New York, and you're like,
and he says "Happy Christmas, everyone."
Just fills my heart with joy. That it's just. But you can next week. He's going to be, there's going to be somebody trying to kill his aunt and all this sort of thing, and the Spider Slayer's back, and you're like, okay, good, let's do it. Let's go. Yeah. I just think sometimes we need a moment of joy.
Yeah.
Or that's sort of boobs. They're the two things.
Well, that's what
that's sort of breaking.
I'll work on joy.
Breaking the full, right?
Sorry, mate.
When characters are talking, that's like full breaking straight away. Wishing you a happy Christmas. It's when you're reading that as a kid, it kind of
Yeah. I mean, without any spoilers, we're not expecting anyone in Legacy to wish us a happy Christmas anytime soon, or to perhaps ride off into that sunset. But the Kickstarter it's great to know that issue 2 is imminent.
Well, it's drawn. It's done.
There you go.
Yeah. And the road has been planned and laid out. And before you tell the listeners where to go and stuff, in terms of writing this sort of slightly, especially when it's violent or there's lots of dark themes, and you're working on it for a long time as an independent creator and a small press and stuff. How is that for you in terms of maybe mentally, psychologically? If you're working on a page that's quite a difficult page to do, just say someone's getting horribly messed up.
Just getting their balls chopped off.
Yeah, or something like that. Do you sit at the desk and just think, this is a right laugh?
Yeah, horribly messed up is fine, but don't make me draw backgrounds.
That's the real torture.
Perspective. Fucking perspective.
Mate, I've got to be honest with you, I had a lot of fun with your comic. I think it's fun.
I
think people who have read like Martial Law and the Boys and stuff like that are going to dig it, man. I just even stuff like Elementals, we saw a bit of that back in the day with a lot of the sort of new wave of indie books, and I think it's got characters in it you can latch onto, and like you say, you've got that iconic sort of situation that allows you to play forward with it. I think it's good. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah. So, going forward, where can people read the first issue or get a copy of it, and get ready to check out the second one?
So the first issue is already on Global Comics, and I actually think, because you mentioned it last week, I've noticed over this last week, I think about 20-25 people have added it to their library.
Oh, nice. Oh, well done, mate.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone.
No one else is talking about it, so it's got to be through. I'm sure. So that's on Global Comics. The Kickstarter, the pre-launch page is already up. So if you searched for Legacy Idols and Bones, it should come up. If not, obviously I can put links on Slack and things like that. And that's going to launch on the 9th, and then I'm doing it as issues 1 and 2, so you can either buy just issue 2 if you already have issue, or if not, you can buy both. And I'm going to keep doing that.
That's the way to do it.
It's me learning how to use Kickstarter as well, but every single one that goes on, obviously you should hopefully be able to buy the previous issues printed as well as PDFs. But at the moment, so it's just Global Comics and then Kickstarter. Oh, and then this is, way off, and obviously I'm hoping to have 4 issues done by then. In September, I've already booked a table for something called NorCon, Norwich Comic Convention or something. I've never even been to it, but I was like, look, if I'm doing this, I've got to give it a go, and I've got to put on the table, literally. So I've booked a table for that, and I really want to have 4 issues, in front of me. And and have lots of signs up that say "not for kids" because I have
Is that
no
where
idea.
you're from? I've got one of those. Is that where you're from up that way? Is it, Gary?
I'm from Essex.
All right. Okay. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine.
That's fine.
It's good. I like people from Essex.
But listeners, I mean, you need to check the book out. It's great stuff. And
Thank
this has been a long time coming, I think, Gary. So it's a
Yeah.
pleasure
It's good to have you on, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a real pleasure because I don't get to talk comics. I don't really have any comic book friends.
Yeah.
So anytime, the only guy, again, we're going off on a tangent here. The only guy that I know really who reads comics is we get quite a lot of deliveries at work through DPD. And Ben, our DPD guy, is a comic book fan, and he literally just saw one day that I had like a comic book T-shirt on. He's like, "Oh, I'm a fan of so and so," and like in the 3 minutes that he's delivering whatever parcel he has, we'll sort of, "Have you read this? Have you read that yet?" And that'll be my extent of talking comics.
Do you know, I do the same with the geezer who works on the till at my local shop. I walked in wearing a Nemesis T-shirt once, and he just talked to me, until it was embarrassing that there were people behind me in the queue, and then I left. And every so often we have like a 2-minute conversation. Yeah.
Nice.
So talking comics is just a joy for me.
And it's
a rare thing.
Well, it's been a joy talking to you, my friend. Look at that segment.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And it probably won't be the last time. So
Well, that'd be amazing.
Thank you very much for joining us, dude.
Good to see you, man.
Thank you very
See you
much.
later, Gary.
Cheers.
And there you have it, folks. Yet more superhero subversion. I had to make sure I could say that right. That's a lot of S's. Superhero subversion.
Nice.
Thank you. And definitely check that series out. It does some real interesting stuff, but it is not for kids. Very much not for kids. Much like this show, really.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yes. But we mean that more like we're very mature, and we talk about serious, highbrow topics, intellectual conversation.
When does that start?
I can't remember the last time. I know it happened. It's happened once.
Happened at some point. Yeah.
Someone else do the podcast.
I'll say usually the guests, and we sort of drag it down.
Yeah.
But one thing that we will drag up is now all the shout outs.
Yeah.
So do we have any shout outs this week?
I only got 2. So first one, Clear Run 3 is dropping onto Kickstarter this week. One of our favourite indie books about a special little rescued dog by the brilliant art from Helena from Art92. You can sign up at the moment and get notified, but I think it's going to drop in the next few days from this release of this episode. So go look at it, and hopefully it will have the first issue and the second issue as well if you haven't got them already. Love that series, man. That's such a good series.
Very excited. Yeah,
very excited. Very excited. Next. That's sad because I genuinely am. That's bad.
Just keep going.
Thanks, Eamon, he sent me a lovely book through this week. Thank you, Eamon. You're a mensch, my friend. They're just my 2. There you go.
Nice. Damn, I forgot.
Yo Comics, calling all young comic creators. Coming March 2026, we're looking for kids who make comics to come and share their creations at the fair. Stanley Arts 12, Saffron Hall, London, SE25 6AB. That's going on right at the moment. We've also got The Press Guardian, the final chapter. A badass press freedom defending Nazi punching redhead. Perry Chase takes on big tech, Russians, Nazi, and their own government. And that's smashed to its goal. Do go check that out. It's from our friends at Green Arch Comics. Got some lovely looking interior pages on that one. Yeah, it's doing really well. Do go take a look at that. It's a lot of fun. I've even got a page in it. We talk about how often I say I've got pages in the books.
You got pages in everything, haven't you?
Yeah.
It's nearly everything. I'm working hard to make sure that's the case going forward.
Yeah.
It's quite a lot.
Have you
quite
seen
a lot
his
to take
page in
on.
the Sexiest Man of 2026, Tony?
What is he, June?
Yeah.
In his trunks.
So whenever it comes down, it's always about June, isn't it?
That's true.
Spice.
Never July's it.
Both of you in June. Jesus.
We love June. We've already mentioned it in the interview.
Spice on slow. I was talking about June this week. I'm looking at doing it at June, a month-long draw-off.
It's good.
Maybe only for me involved, but
I know I've got your copy of that. You sent me a copy.
Yeah. No, this is the second one, the sequel. It's
okay,
hopefully
June 2. June
It's
Messiah.
going to be better than the sequel to June. that we had recently.
Yes.
Because,
Jumicide ain't happening, is it? Let's face it.
Don't think so. But anyway.
Is that your shout-outs, Dan?
Yes, that's me done.
That's
so
him
I
done.
kind of fucked up the end a bit there.
Yeah. But I do.
Anyway.
I also think Mac Powell have opened up for tables, exhibitors and stuff. So
I've done that. That's a good one. That
look that up, because that's always a good one. They always put in a good shout as well, don't they? Every year they do loads of workshops and stuff. And I'm just gonna put this in the shout outs as to tail this off. If you follow me on Instagram at Just a Diablo, you'll see that I post up like some pictures and a video of me receiving my only ever artist edition book this week, and it will be
The Addiction.
It will. Well, I think this is going to be the only. Look, these things are too spenny for me. It's too.
They're expensive, man.
But
they are beautiful things.
Yeah, it's too much. But of course.
And you need a big desk to read them on.
Yes, the kitchen table. That's my designated sort of. Make sure it's all clean. Put down a cloth. But I received my Body Bags Artist Edition. That's Jason Pearson's Artist Edition, and I just kind of want to put a. I mean, they'll never listen to it, but I just want to put a shout out. And it's not. And I thought I couldn't put this in a recommendation sort of thing. Although I think there are copies available. When I posted up on Instagram, someone did mention that the 12 gauge guys have printed, a chunk. So it's not like it's only available to the Kickstarter type people. But yeah, I just went the extra because it's my favourite comic book series. It was monumental for me in my development and like comics language storytelling, just characters and stuff.
Great, man.
I spent a good couple of years just, I didn't realise sort of my style was copying designs and things like that. Chunky boots and just everything from Jason Pearson. And the guys from 12 Gauge Comics, I know that they definitely put a lot of love into this. And there was Kevin as one of the guys that I was contacted. I think I spoke about this back in the day, but because I pledged to a Body Bags Kickstarter for a new series that unfortunately didn't get completed because Jason passed away in 22. But the people that were putting together this artist edition wanted to honour that. So it was one of those. Even though Kickstarter doesn't allow you to switch those things over, I emailed that. I just wanted to shout out, like, they were brilliant through the whole thing of like just on it with communication. And through this whole thing, like putting a big book together like this, which is a big book, and they've got to collate a lot of things, because as well as this, I've got 2 sketchbooks that are printed really nicely, and because they pass certain goals, these sketchbooks are like 80 pages each. Do you know what I mean? These aren't like thin, thrown in extras. These
That's good.
So I know there was the 12 gauge.
Well, the sketchbooks are 11 by 17 as well, are they? Or
they're just they're slightly oversized, a little bigger than a comic book
magazine.
Yeah, sort of magazine size, both of them. But
a little bigger than magazine, I'd say. Even.
Yeah, a little bigger. Yeah. There's Locked and Loaded, which is a Jason Pearson sketchbook for and I can see some designs and some covers and
commissions
and stuff. And there's an artist edition Body Bags sketchbook, which contains, as well as I've forgotten the name now. Who was the artist on the NAM?
He did Micronauts.
Michael.
Yeah, Golden.
Michael Golden. Yeah, obviously he did some covers for Body Bags, so they're in here as well.
Oh, nice.
But it's full of sketches and character designs of over the years, and those are very lovely pieces. Anyway, I love a sketchbook, back in the day, so they're amazing. But the book itself, actually got me kind of emotional looking through it. Because it's one thing, and all 4 of the issues of the original series, the original, there is lettering on it, and there are inks and stuff, but it's scanned in. They have also put in layouts and inks of, there was a short in Dark Horse. If there was anything Body Bags, anything like a short story in Dark Horse Presents, if there was another one in like an Image Comics thing or something like that, if there was anything, it is in this artist edition. And
that's brilliant.
It got to the point as well where, I'm looking at this, and the stuff for the actual original series looks kind of polished and really well put together. And then as it goes on, you're seeing some of the other. It's fascinating to see someone's style through the years as well. There's like some of it looks more animated, some of it he's leaning back into older styles, and you see a development. But there was pages for the series that he was doing before he passed away in 22. And then also there's pages of Body Bags 2. He started a sequel series and never finished it. And then there was a time, there was a break, and I think he felt like he was out of the game and he couldn't go back to that. And then something inspired him to go back to that. But to see these pages that don't have any lettering, they don't have these real heavy inks, but you can see all the blue lines, the perspectives. There are unfinished panels, and it just. I remember I was looking at a page, just looking at the glorious artwork. As anyone who's ever looked at an artist's edition, no matter what artist it is, it's a glorious experience, isn't it? Looking.
I love it, man.
Yeah. But I was looking through it, and when I just saw the note, and I loved seeing it's a creator that also is writing it as well. So there's the marks on the pages. Change this bit here. They will say this here. You know, there's figuring out what is happening, what is going on with the story. But just seeing like Body Bags 2 in the top left of that 11x17 page, and knowing it will never be.
Oh, okay.
There was a real moment of like that. I was just sort of. It was just sad. Yeah, it was a real.
I've never read Body Bags. No.
It's really fun.
Yeah, it's just, you know, it's pretty over the top, violent, intense, but
it's one of those things, man. It's what we do. If allowed to blow our own trumpet, it's what we do so well here. Is you guys talk about something, and I'm so enthused about reading it. The enthusiasm carries through, doesn't it?
It does some pretty. There's a couple of panels in it that are controversial. I think is a bit harsh for it. It's pretty intense, but it's done with a sort of a style, and it was just fucking.
Style is fucking ridiculous.
Just fucking goes for it. And one thing I will say, I was talking in that interview as well about the voice of a creator in that writing. And when I was saying that, the Jason Pearson's name was echoing in my head very loudly, because obviously he created some characters that have been. You know, people have got tattoos of these characters without a shadow of a doubt. Yeah. The fan art, fucking, you know, probably making custom figures. They're all kinds of things. They're amazing designs. And obviously he built up a world. There's this city terminus where there's all these like these super powered people and like, you know, hitmen and assassins. It's pretty gritty. And Image recently, I think it was Image, yeah, they did a crossover, which was Body Bags Hack Slash.
Right.
Tim Seeley was writing it, and I jumped on board, and the artwork is great. And I don't have a problem. I've read a lot of Tim Seeley stuff that I like, and I was like, this isn't how he do it, and
leave it alone.
It's a weird thing to say because I don't want to be respectful because the people that did it were clearly trying to honour what came before. But it is truly a series and a style, and you know, that was his.
Sometimes we just need to walk away.
Yeah.
Leave it there.
And I think
comics never understands that though, does it?
Yeah, what they did with these artist editions and because I know he was part of the 12 gauge crew, and you know, they've done lots of stuff like. Do you remember The Ride? That series, The Ride and stuff. Do you remember that? In I think it was Image. I think it was all about a car. There's loads of different crime stories that happen around a car. They all worked on that. People like Cully Hamner and stuff like that. They're all part of that. Brian Stelfreeze, you know, all part of the same crew. Some of these absolutely freaking amazing artists. But to see this was like, that is people who care about what they wanted to do here. And it's just, I said in my Instagram post, like, it's the best book I own. I just sort of said, but it is. It is. Every time I sit down to read this, I say read because it's almost like you're going through an art book, isn't it? It's like, it will be a moment every single time. And not just because it's an absolutely enormous book and I need to find a special place in order to read it. You can't sit in bed and read an artist edition, can you? Unless you've got
massive bed.
A big bed. But I just wanted to just highlight that, shout out the people that put this thing together, because, I mean, obviously, the proof is in the pudding when you see the final thing, and there was a wait for it, it's clearly when it got finished, because they were, as soon as the books were done, and there was certainly, I think, with all these tariffs and printing and postage and stuff, that's been a knock-on effect for lots of people doing Kickstarters and stuff, isn't it? But they were always good with the communication, and when it was done, it was going. They were like, right, these are being shipped out now, these are being shipped out. They were constantly like updating. And considering me, who was like, oh, how do I do this? Setting up, an international shipping sort of thing. I found it fairly easy. It was done really well. They packed it brilliantly. It had a little foam sort of corner bits, almost like
on the corner edges. Yeah,
yeah. It was a proper art book, and even that, and it was in a cardboard box, which was then in another cardboard box with bubble wrap and stuff. So
when it's that kind of weight and cost, it kind of needs to be though, right? It's
yeah.
Kinda,
yeah.
You don't want that fucking dog-eared or kind of.
Yeah. Yeah. When it came through the post, and when I said to Joe, there's a book, an art book being delivered, and I just got a WhatsApp from 11 days. This book's fucking massive because this box was huge, But I can see. I mean, Tony,
you say don't open it. Don't open it. You said leave it. Yeah.
I can see to your point why people would, all about the artist editions and stuff. Is it? I see it. Scott Dumbier.
He kind of runs a lot of that stuff. He runs it,
and they worked directly with him on this.
Oh, that's good. He knows what he's doing because I think he does all the stuff I bought. Yeah.
I mean, I'm just reading this on the Kickstarter page. Obviously, he was with Wildstorm, and then he worked with IDW, and he pioneered DC's Absolute format.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
And
no, that's not the current Absolute. That's what they called their omnibuses.
Yeah, the omnibuses back then.
Okay.
Yeah.
As well as producing every IDW artists edition to date.
Yeah, they're the ones I've got. Yeah.
Yeah. So they do a lot of like collections and stuff. Act 4 Publishing is their company.
Okay.
But they did fucking brilliant work on this. And Kevin Gardner, he was the one that he was one of the 12 gauge guys that I was in communication with. Even though I was just sort of like, how do I get my hands on this? I don't want to miss out. And it was brilliant. So it was it's a comics moment for me in 2026 that will be hard to top.
Yeah, man, that's fucking setting the bar really high.
And I think almost another byproduct of it, I opened it up and I looked at it and I got a shot of just unbridled inspiration from it. Just went.
Oh, that's good.
That almost like, whoa, it's happening again.
Because you've been drawing again, mate. Another one this week, haven't you?
I was like, oh god, right, okay, I need to get back on this again. It's making me feel inspired. So yeah, I just wanted to highlight that a bit. But now that the shout outs and everything else is done, we've got a few comics to get through and recommend. Tony, do you want to kick us off?
Talking about it being inspired, this is one of our favourites, certainly one of my favourite dudes in comics. The new one from Steve Lafler, he's on art, and Paul Therioux is from 2 short stories written by him. It's Crazy for You. It's Fantagraphics, 210 pages, comes out in about a month, I think. I'm going to spoil it. He's back on the show in a couple of weeks. We love Steve. He's great. So he sent me this. It's a collab between him and the writer. Now, Paul Therioux, I don't know if you have ever read anything by him. He's a sort of novelist come travel writer. Quite popular. So the kids will know him as Louis' dad, I think. I'm only going to talk about the first story in this. There are 2 stories. I've enjoyed them both. They're both great. If you go to Forbidden Planet, which seems to be where certainly me and Dang buy a lot of our books at the moment because they seem to be money off. It's only £15.86 of Forbidden Planet rather than the $22.99 which it normally would be. Go and have a look at that. So the story, Minor Watt, Thoreau uses funny names for people, so just be aware of that. They're both sort of unusually named people. He's a multi-millionaire, and he's made his money mostly through sort of housing and building and a bit Trumpy, really, I suppose. A bit like that, not overtly so. And he's going through he's a multi-millionaire who's going through quite a costly divorce. He's also a renowned art collector and all manner of different pieces of art. And as part of the settlement, he's got to hand over this glorious Ming vase, which he really treasures. And he opens with him talking a bit about his life in the art trade and who he knows and all this sort of thing. And then he talks a bit about his ex-wife, and he's a little bit sad about it. And he's saying, what's she going to be like? She seems to be sort of changeable. Is she going to be the sad version, the angry version, the money-grabbing version, the one that comes to see me? And he's sitting there, and she comes in, and they have a conversation. All seems to be going all right. And then he goes to hand her the Ming vase, and he drops it, and it breaks and smashes on the floor. And she sort of shrieks. And he reacts really strangely to it, and he starts laughing uncontrollably. The damage is immeasurable in relation to just financial and beauty, and it's all smashed on the floor in front of him. But something clicks, something changes in him, and he really gets into smashing and cutting up art, right? And there's a group of sort of hipsters who come round and say to him, you're part of our movement now, and he's this is some kind of actual sort of anti-art art. Was it Stuckism and all these sort of things, these sort of weird art movements and he says, and he's thinking, no, I'm not really, I just do it because I enjoy it, it makes me laugh. And he's a bit of a baby around it, really, but he begins to get a name for it. The exquisite Rothko I destroyed last week, it called for it. It called out to me saying, kick me. And then he's at this sort of, so he begins to get a bit of a name and a bit popular around it. And he's at this art show, and there's this hot lady standing behind him, hot art fan lady. And she thinks, damn, this guy has got style. And his news of this destruction begins to spread widely. And art dealers begin to catch on. So in the world of art, everything, there's all these crazy movies about, sellotaping a banana to a wall, and it goes off in all different places, the art world. I don't claim to understand it in any way, but he destroys a hopper, for example, at one point, and because he's destroying something, it's getting a name, and therefore the rest of the things are getting more expensive. So the art dealers are kind of making money off the back of him. But he doesn't give a fuck, and he just keeps breaking stuff up. And I'm not going to go all the way to the end of the story. So as part of this, he meets a woman, and he's absolutely infatuated with her, and he sees her as this. Here, I'm going to say it, piece of art, and I'll let you work out what happens from then.
Oh, fuck.
And it's not quite what you expect.
Okay.
But I'm spoiling an old story here, but they play with you in this story. The writer and artist play with you. And I don't know, you begin to admire Miner a bit. You begin to think, yeah, fucking right on. These up their arse kind of people, pompous, idiotic people. And you're just doing it for the fuckery of it, really. His friends call him mad, and they sort of shriek and scream about him. And he's self-described. He says, "I'm a bit of a baby," and there's a thrill-seeking element to it. But somehow, by chance and mistake, he becomes sort of the ultimate rebel to some people. And it's absolutely fascinating. Steve's art is black and white. Steve's got a style that, in this anyway, he changes his style quite a bit, but in this anyway, there's he's lampooning a sort of hipster art style, but they're not quite hipsters. They're not sort of the berry wearing, polo neck wearing hipsters. There's a sort of, mustachioed suit wearing, going to exhibitions and this sort of thing type people. And he handles it in a very, very cool way. But there's these sort of very iconic little bolts from the blue, which is the violence in it. And it's just an absolutely beautiful read. He's got this sort of edge and style to him, and a knowledge of what's happening that 210 pages of this just blew by. Absolutely blew by as a read, which is what I enjoy. The second story is called Siamese Nights. The main character in it is called Boyd Ozier, and he's an older gentleman who goes on a business trip and meets a woman, and let's just say not everything is what he is used to.
Right.
But it's again, it's this sort of subverting expectations again, like going back to what we talked about earlier, and having something to say about it. And men are strange creatures. They both show us how weird a man is, and often how different women are to us. It's interesting. If you go to substack.com at Steve Lafler, you can read all he writes quite a lot on there. He's a good lad. Or go to stevelafler.com. You can find out more about his stuff there. There's a little piece on the book in there. And also go to our favourite people, Redbubble, and you can buy some lovely Steve Lafler t-shirts. I wear regularly. Wear a couple of those. But Steve's one of those dudes. You'll hear him when he comes on. Now, me, Falpy, Eddie, Sam, and a couple of others sat at a Chinese meal with him one night, and it was just like
succulent Chinese meal.
Yeah, it was just like, fucking hell! It was just like, oh, who doesn't he know?
Yeah.
I mean, I mentioned Mary Fleener, and he's like, oh, he's playing a band with Mary Fleener. And we're like, and he's such a cool guy, man. You'll love him.
Man, I can't wait till we have him on.
Yeah, that'll be good. Yeah, we're good. So that's his new one. He has got another book he's coming out, which I'm waiting to arrive, which may well get mentioned next week. But Crazy for You from Fantagraphics. Go pre-order. Spin Planet, you get a £5 at least. I think you get £7 off of Spin Planet. So go and do that.
Nice.
But yeah, that's my first one, guys.
Nice. Dan, have you got a couple this
I've got two.
Okay. Do the first one.
New York City, summer 1991, as a brutal gang war erupts between the Foot Clan and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and New Warriors
I've got this.
Shadows. He wears armor like the Shredder, but he's bigger, meaner, and he's not picking sides. He's killing everyone. Where the midnight stakeout turns bloody, 3 turtles are left barely breathing. Now it's up to Raphael, battered, outgunned, and burning for payback, to track down the killer through a heat wave-soaked city teetering on collapse. He's silent, he's ruthless, and he's from not around here. And the only name he's got for him is Predator. So this is a fan comic that Zach Cahill put together on the ACP Slack. Predator versus Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I've got my copy, and it's a fucking joy.
I loved it, man. I had the best. Yeah, I did an early trip into London, saved it for the train yesterday, and I loved this. Yeah.
So we've got obviously Zach Cahill doing the story and some of the pencils artwork. We've got Sam Hardacre, Dan.
Who's done the wraparound cover again? Is it Ian?
I think it. I'm not too sure actually. That's not quoted on the thing. That's a lovely piece. The wraparound cover, and there's a knob on the back cover, which is fucking great.
Oh, a rabbit knob.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ian did the cover.
Ian Matthews, is it?
Yes. And that's it, man. It's a fucking. Great. There's Zach puts a little twist in it.
Sorry, I'm sorry to interrupt you, Dan. I interrupted you when you were listing the names of people. Sorry, so I don't think you got to.
That's all right. Let's do it again. We've got Zach Cahill obviously doing the art and the writing. We've got Matthew Bunt, Sam Hardacre, Dan Stokes, Kieran Squires, Cliff Cumber, and there's me doing a pin-up on the back page, back cover. It's a really
so it's all different people inking, Zach. Is that right?
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
It's interesting. We've had a discussion before, like what an inker brings to an artist's work, and it's the same, but it changes it. It's like a kind of a remix.
Yeah, you can tell with these pages. You look, I can immediately tell you the one that Cliff did, for example.
Yeah. Oh man, Cliff's fucking one's great. But the whole fucking book's great. I really enjoyed it. You can get a copy yourself from Zach's Big Cartel, which is zachcahill.bigcartel.com. You can also get all these other books on there. And if you're a big fan, you can join Zach's Patreon.
I'm on that. It's a great Patreon, man. It's well worth it.
Search that up, and you can obviously read Omega Black, Monkey Witness, Look at Night, and there's a whole bunch of other stuff.
The stuff for Monkey Witness is unreal.
It made me laugh, that comic. Makes me laugh. All of his stuff's great, man.
Yeah.
This was a great little project. I want you to do another one. It's ASAP.
Yeah, man. I think this is the way to go, kind of putting these fan comics out, Zach. I know that's kind of enslaving you into doing more of this, but if you have a game, I'm sure most of the people in the Slack are fucking up for doing more.
Yeah.
So, good stuff.
Yeah. I'm going to jump in the middle with just a quick one from Mad Cave. It's a series that I've finished all 5 issues. I didn't sort of. I read the first one a little while ago, and I wanted to give it a bit of time before I went back in to sort of judge it fully. But it is in the recommendation section, so there you go. That says a lot. This Mad Cave, and it killed everyone but me, which is another example of something that Dan Butcher points out. Another comic with a long title. But
I'm sure it's from manga.
Not just a long title, but it's a very specific kind of long title, isn't it?
I do think that is becoming counterproductive.
Yes, yes, I think
because I get confused which one's which.
I fucking roll my eyes.
And I will come back to that in just a moment.
I'll ask the question I always ask when we do the long titles. Can you remember the name of my long title comic?
Is it I Drag my balls across your face? Is that the one?
I dragged my big balls across this accursed earth.
The accursed earth, of course. Yes. Forgot about that. I mean, I think there's a fucking art project. Loads of people should do covers for that. I'd fucking love that.
Cool, they'd hurt after a while.
Yeah, I've got an idea for a cover myself. Perhaps I'll do that. That'd be great. Anyway, but it killed everyone but me. Okay, in the summer of 1996, this is quite a long synopsis as well. I'm going to speed through it. But
go for it.
I don't understand why. I don't understand why they do really long ones sometimes. Do you know what I mean?
It's not needed.
Yeah, but it feels like it's the back of a fucking novel rather than a comic. And anyway, in the summer of 1996, Sutton Reed had it all: a popular teenage girl with amazing friends, a loving family, and a bright future. But it all came crashing down over one mysterious weekend that saw her friends brutally murdered and left Sutton as the sole survivor of the legendary Riverton Massacre. Now, 3 decades later, the death and disappearance of 2 local teens strike the Riverton community again, forcing Sutton, now a divorced single mother, to face the truth she tried to so desperately to hide, because to catch one killer, she'll have to dig up the real monster she buried away all those years ago. That could have been a couple of 100 words shorter.
Yeah.
Having read the book, that could have been a lot shorter. And but that's by the by. This is a quite an interesting. I mean, I did really enjoy this one. I think as it went on, it is a story that sort of jumps backwards and forwards in time. And it is supernatural. There is a supernatural monster in it. Basically, this monster killed this girl's friends, and when the police found her, there's bits of body, and she's there with a shovel, and and she said her boyfriend lost his mind and murdered a lot of people. But as the story goes on, then we're catching up with her now. She's just trying to get on with her life, and as the story sort of progresses, we're seeing the reveal of what really happened on that night, as well as it's quite well balanced actually. There's an ongoing sort of investigation into the latest murders that are eerily similar to something that happened before. And the pacing's good. It's written well. The thing about this book that got me, this does not exist if there is something killing the children. Did not happen.
Right.
Okay.
Which I think that was almost the one that kicked off the first domino of let's have lots of long titles. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It doesn't help. This is the writer is Ryan Parrott, and the artist is Letizia Cadanesi. I hope I got that right. Who Alessandro Santora is the colorist. Taylor Esposito is the letterer. Taylor Esposito's done loads of stuff, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and it's a really well put together book. The artist is very. I was thinking when I was reading it, I was thinking this looks like someone trying to ape the style of the artwork that's in Something Is Killing the Children. Like, very similar to it. And the story and the way it's built feels like that. I enjoyed it for what it was, but I think it could quite easily be seen as like someone just trying to do the same thing. I read it as a one and done story, but by the end of that story, it's set up to continue.
Okay.
I don't really need it to continue. I enjoyed the story for what it was. It's got some interesting. The monster itself for this series isn't a convention. I would have preferred it to be more horrific and monstrous. It looks. If I say a manga sort of villain, it may make more sense when you see it. It looks a lot more humanoid than I thought it would. But yeah, I couldn't get this out of my head as it was going through. Even the colouring and everything was like, there's something killing the children. There's something killing. I couldn't disconnect that from this story, which I think works against it. But the story itself is very well put together. It's really well done. If you like that style of storytelling, if you like that, I mean, it's trying to build a world. I'm not sure if I'd read more of that world going on, but for this story, it worked. It's not heavy-handed with that world building. It was only in the last sort of issue I was like, oh, I see where we're going now. This is the first of, yeah. So I'm not sure if I don't know how well that title works for it either. It's an interesting title, but it's a title for an arc rather than it could be the title of this arc rather than the book. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get it. It's a story title.
Yeah. I mean, it's well worth checking out. I think there is death, destruction. There's some great dialogue bits. The monsters are nicely horrific. Some of the covers, they do a few alternates, don't they? Mad Cave, but some of the covers for the actual sort of issues are really striking. But yeah, it killed everyone but me. I think it's better to read it in one chunk, rather than So the 5 issues are out now. Perhaps you can pick them up and buy. I read it on Global Comics if you got it, or perhaps wait for the trade. Be interesting to see what the other listeners will think of it. I know Something's Killing the Children. There are some fans, there some people who don't dig it. That's why I think stories like this are quite interesting, because they can be quite sort of polarizing. I think if I looked outside of the enjoyment I had on it, it's almost too similar to the thing. It feels very much like when you have like, oh, we're putting out the Prestige, and at the same time the Illusionist is being put out. There is always Volcano, and then there's Dante's Peak. Do you know what I mean?
Doom Patrol and X-Men is a good example of that.
Yeah. So
the leader's in a wheelchair, came out at the same time.
Yeah. So it kind of feels like that as a comic book. Really, it's just a shame that it came out so long after Something Is Killing the Children was coming out, because it feels like. Yeah.
When I saw that title, I thought it was something to do with killing children. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, which it isn't. It isn't. It's sort of like
no.
Yeah. And I don't know why there was that long synopsis at the beginning, because you don't really need to know all of that. That's not really conveyed in the story. But yeah, well, check it out, see what you think, folks, and get back to me. Anyway, Dan, what's your next one?
My next one is Life Drawing by.
Jaime.
Jaime. Yeah, because I fuck this up every time.
Jaime Hernadez, which is from the Love and Rockets collection. Tony got me this for Christmas. It's an fucking.
I think because luckily I'm always thinking what I can get you guys, and I think we'd had a conversation where you two sort of said you hadn't read it yet, Love and Rockets, and I thought, oh, that's an easy buy then.
Yeah, get Love and Rockets. Man, this fucking dude's artwork is so good.
So crisp, isn't it?
Yes, so crisp, so clean, and the way he can kind of draw features, bodies, faces, expressions, and like they're very minimal, but like they portray so much emotion and weight and energy. It's really just. Vince is bringing a copy.
I bought you a different one, didn't I?
Yeah. Is this How You See Me? Is the one I've got. So.
Cool.
I think is yours Fantagraphics, Dan? Is yours?
Yes.
Because it's absolutely lovely.
They do, yeah. They do well by them. I mean, the thing is, for me, is like I used to of the two, him and Gilbert. I was always a massive fan of Jaime, and I genuinely think the older you get, the more you see the value in Jaime, in Gilbert as well. But Gilbert is just off the chain. Just the biggest boobs in comics. Just crazy kind of stuff, but they both kind of become very different for me now. But Love and Rockets is obviously the work of both of them, and sometimes another brother. But and I really like Jaime's. Like you say, I remember reading it when it first came out and just like being absolutely in love with it. There's some nice little omnibuses you can get of a bit like essentials, really, of the story, because it gets quite complicated. There's a lot of characters. Yeah,
I've got to say, like in this one, there's a lot of characters, and more kind of get introduced as you kind of go along. And I've read it twice to sort of like try and stay in with what character what, but like it's not hard following them because everyone has their own personality and look, even though they're
There's absolutely a tone of voice as well.
Minimal.
It's
Yeah.
so because I've started my one, I haven't finished it yet, but it's very much like watching a film. Every character has their voice, and it's absolutely no.
They don't act. They act like real people as opposed to people in a story. Like they do stuff sometimes which is irrational, but then people are irrational. They do stuff that does that's almost self-destructive in a way. That doesn't benefit you, but they do it anyway.
It's unvarnished slice of life in a fictional world.
In a Mexican world as well, it's a little bit of another world, isn't it? There's a couple of pages in there. I think we had a long conversation on the Slack about it a couple of years ago, maybe last year, where she's running into the water in that, and it's just perfect comics to me, man. There's just momentum and realness and power and energy and coolness.
There's something that caught me out when they're like in this little bit of forest and they're saying, "Oh, who put there's some items hanging from the trees like mirrors and stuff." And he goes, "Who put them there?" And it's like the forest spirit. And it's oh, okay. And then one of the characters sort of wakes up like nude, and this forest spirit has nicked her necklace, and she goes and grabs it back, and it's like a one-page aside, and it's just like, okay, and then the story carries on, but it's just like perhaps the author wanted to do that quick aside. But I was like, it's fine. It goes.
I think doesn't Jaime now? Doesn't he live with Katie Skelly? Got a feeling he's with her. She's quite I met them they were lovely to me. I met them at a convention once. Ever so nice. And the comics are still coming out. I mean, that you can. I think there's some that came out this week to be ordered for Wednesday from Food and Planet. There's just in magazine size, you know. But just beautiful. Again, we don't talk about them the same way we don't talk about a lot of comics because they're just consistently coming out and are quality. And I think sometimes we ignore that for the bright new thing, don't we?
Yeah.
But these people like Usagi, and that's the best example. They've just been coming out for donkeys for decades, and they're just consistently well done. They jump about a bit to all different comics, and you get little comic size ones and magazine size ones. And you have to sort of keep your eye on what's coming out. But it's just lovely stuff. Yeah.
There's one sequence that jumped out to me early. One of the characters, Hillary's like talking shit about one of her classmates because she's really good at swimming and like might actually make a career out of swimming. And they're like, you can't swim. Like I could probably do. I'm good at swimming. And they give her a race. And you see, I try and hold up the camera. I try and put it in the Substack, but like they jump in the pool, and it's the characters kind of along. Then it's just like as her friend blasts up from her, and then blasts down the other end of the pool, there and back, winning the competition. She's not even got like a quarter of the way down the pool, and it's like so well done. And it's like. This is 6 panels that shows an entire swimming race, the beginning, middle, and end, and the sort of sign off afterwards. And it's like, man, that's a fucking.
They know what they're doing, don't they? They really do.
I was helping someone with a script today, and I was saying, you got to cut all this down. You can't have this much stuff. There was like one sequence where like an assassin shot at our hero, and then was talking to his boss on the phone. And then jumped out of a window, landing on the floor. And I was like, you've got that happening over 2 pages. That's way too much stuff. Like, you need to kind of... You kind of... The thing with the comics is, like, the pages are a premium. And when you're getting a fucking swimming race done in 6 panels... With character moments...
The personality.
The race, personality, everything in it. Like, that's comics. That's how it should be done.
The shapes he uses just with blacks, it's just brilliant. It's the hair and it's so good. Oh, I love it.
There's one where he's kind of got like the swimming costume and it's got a pattern of like white stripes and there's nothing behind it, but you read the form because it's white on white. So there's this, but you read the form of the body because it's defined by the blacks between the lines and.
Oh, so good, man.
It's very, very impressive stuff. I mean, I've always kind of like been drawn to that artwork. And I think I'm a bit like Vince. Like my first exposure to it was through Wizard. Love and Rockets and Wizard.
Yeah, it comes and goes. People realise, but it's. I'm glad they've got Fantagraphics as at home and have had for decades, and it's just great.
Man, this fucking book is like the top drawer of production quality. Like there's not much you can. There's nothing I could add to that to make it any better.
We got that 2 for Fantagraphics this week. There you go.
Yeah.
Nice.
And we had one last week as well.
Yeah.
Nice. So, Tony, necked out ginger beer And
Yeah, it's ginger beer as well. It's not root beer this week. Ginger beer.
Nick that ginger beer, white boy.
I like ginger beer.
Yeah.
The
you do like the root though, don't you?
I would like to work it. The you missed all the off-mic stuff I've been making Vince and Dan laugh with that voice.
Yeah.
The okay, my next one is what was that normal? Question mark at the end from Alex Potts, made by Avery Hill and him. 212 pages, full colour, great price actually, $14.99. That's good, isn't it?
That's great.
Yeah, that is great.
Price of about 3 floppies. That price is good. This is a return of Alex Avery Hill. I loved A Quiet Disaster years ago. I met him in a comic shop, and he's a dryly laconic fellow. Very funny. Lovely representative cover. Alex playing the trumpet, which he does do in this comic very briefly till he gets told off. It opens on a character who looks a little like Alex. He's called Philip, and it's he's sitting in a vibrant, busy pub, and you get this sort of setting of everyone enjoying themselves, and it's all done in reds and yellows. And then you switch to him, and he's sitting at a bar on his own, wondering why he's there and why he can't enjoy himself. And he's just sitting there on his literally no one around him. And the next page, or the next few pages, he's waking up in bed and he's saying, "It is morning, groan, not this again." And it's not really a short-lived crisis that Philip is having, but rather a lifelong confusion as to what is going on, and the cynicism, and why am I here? What is happening? I hate to call it an existential crisis because that makes it sound more serious than it is. He thinks everything, and you hear about it, and he gives a sort of description of working from home. We all occasionally have to work from home, don't we? And it says sitting there, staring into this box, pressing buttons and writing emails, and it's just. Early on in the book, he decides to go for a walk, and his crisis continues, and he questions his life continuously. Being massively down on himself. He's second guessing everything. He's always thinking the worst is going to happen until he sees a dog and he says, "Oh, look, a dog, brilliant." So there's a little moment of seeing a dog, which we all cheers us all up, don't we? We like dogs.
Totally. Yeah.
And he has a little daydream about he's got a dog called Juan. He doesn't know why, and the dog called Juan eats his paella. That's his little daydream, and it sort of moves on from there. And he's in a cafe. He hears a couple talking, and he has a daydream about how he could beat a chihuahua in a fight. And he beats a chihuahua, and then he has a little regret, right, why he killed a chihuahua in a fight, even though it was only a dream. He's got this sort of female flatmate who's sort of happy and busy and always trying to chat to him, and he's always avoiding her. And it's sort of an ongoing thing where she's sort of always, we can hear her in the corridor, so he stands behind the door waiting for her to leave and stuff. And but she convinces him. She's always going to gong baths, and he's going, "What is a gong bath?" Do you guys know?
No, never heard of that.
I had to look it up. Go look it up yourself. And she's always going on about that, and he's thinking, "What is that? I don't know what that is."
I'm looking at it now.
And he goes to see a band with her. And in it, he bumps into the lead singer called Gina. And he becomes a little infatuated. Now, up until that point, it was very much hitting the mark of nothing is happening in this comic for me. Sure, it's drawn well and it has a lot of charm, but like I was about 50 pages in, I'm thinking nothing's happening.
Right.
I know he's a nice, funny guy, but then he meets this girl, and you begin to realise it's a love story, and a realistic one. And what he's done is he's put you in his pocket. You know what he's like. You know how he's going to react, and you do worry from that point on that he's going to ruin it. And it takes a while to get going, but give him his credit, from a bloke who's very unsure about himself and a little bit lonely and a little bit lost in life. He does have the bottle enough to ask out the lead singer of a band, and she says yes. And you think, well, there's opportunities for us all there, my friend. Yeah. And good and bad things happen, and complications happen, and different things happen. But all the while, there's this tower that has fallen down. It's like the Blackpool Tower in this town, and bits of it are landing everywhere. And it's talked about. It's talked about as an urban myth. It's talked about as a reality. Someone finds a bit in their garden, and it becomes this I don't know, foreboding figure over the story. It's really weird. You got this tower that plays a part into the narrative later on, which I won't ruin. It's told in different styles. There's a lot of work gone into the art in this, so I can imagine it hasn't taken a short amount of time to make. And there's some first person, there's some narration, novel style narration over the top of him as he's doing stuff. And there's these sort of brighter coloured daydreams. And we do, which I thought was unusual. This is the one thing I thought was unusual, is everything is kind of from the perspective of Philip. But there's one bit which is just about, so everything kind of contains him, really. There's one bit where the girl is on the beach with her friend. And I found that unusual. It took me slightly out of it. From a sort of through line, it takes a left turn for a bit of time and then goes back again. So I'm not sure if he needed that to flesh her out a bit more. Because all I was thinking was I'm seeing her through his eyes. And that was, I thought, kind of the point. But you don't. You get something else, which is her own point of view. In fact, it happens twice. And she's kind of got this on-off boyfriend as well. And I ended up absolutely warming to this. At first I thought, is this just going to be 210 pages of this? But no, what he's doing very cunningly is he's making you not exactly like him, because he is something of an annoying fella, but it is getting you to know him before he then takes a turn into a story that has romantic jeopardy, I suppose, and possibly physical jeopardy, depending on this tower that's overbearing them. I think if you're going to do it, give it some time. If you're going to get into it, I think it's worth it. There's a lot of absolutely lovely scratchy style he does, but he uses light really well. Light and colour, beautifully done. So by far one of my favourite Avery Hill books, I think. By the end of it, didn't think it was going to be.
Wow.
But sometimes we think about things and we warm to them a little bit. If you go to alexpotts.com, you can find out more. He does the sort of online comic as well occasionally. If you go to averyhillpublishing.com, our old friends, you can find it there. And you can look up Gong Bath online and find out what it really is.
I looked it up.
Did you?
Yeah.
Do you want to describe what it is?
Basically, you get into a bath and someone bangs a gong and you listen to it and kind of chill out.
Oh, yeah.
You done that, Vince? Yeah, done that a couple of times.
I do that every night.
I thought I was going to be ending up on Urban Dictionary.
And then the gongs leave and I have to clean up. Oh, dear. I don't know what any of that meant.
It just occurred to me a really bad joke. I'll tell you after we finish.
Right.
So, was that normal? There you go. My second one.
Nice. Which is a phrase that we use for every week on this show. And the answer is yes, this is normal. Yeah. It's completely normal for this show, because that's the kind of show we are. And we hope you have enjoyed this week's foray into the world of comics, indie, superhero, and all kinds, because we always have fun doing it, and we'll be back next week for more. But if there's anything you want us to talk about, shout out. In the meantime, please do get in touch with us. There's several different ways you can do it. You can email us awesomecomicspod@gmail.com. If you're an indie creator who would like us to check out their book or anything like that, any indie publishers, please do drop us a line, because we'll shout you out, etc. Always. You can also follow us on social media at Awesome Comics Pod on Insta, at The Awesome Pod on X. And where did you hear us? Well, perhaps it is on the website awesomecomics.podbean.com, on the Podbean app, or wherever you get your beans, and Apple Podcasts. Please do subscribe, and it really does help the show, algorithms and all that. There's a lot of people talking nonsense about comics, and we think we do a little bit more than that. We do nonsense and we do comics. And we don't pretend to know what we're talking about.
Just three average blokes talking about comics.
Yeah.
That's all we are.
With some pop culture asides. And
fuck that.
But we're also on Spotify, Amazon, Stitcher, Podnose, Podknife. What are the networks we on, Tony?
We're on the network. Practice saying sausages instead of sausages.
I'm going to do that. I'm totally going to do that. Anyway, and also it was mentioned a little bit during the interview, but we have a wonderful Slack community Please, if you want to be part of that, whether you're a creator or just a fan of the show, there's a wonderful community of people on there who just chat comics and talk about art and just everything in between. It's a really, we say it every week, but it really is a nice community on there. Get in touch with us.
Predator comic started. Get on there. Get involved.
So get in touch with us. We're also, there's a link on the Substack. If you do Substack, search for the Awesome Comics Podcast on Substack and sign up for it, where we and now we talk about the everything we talk about, and there's covers of the books we talk about, and plenty more to come.
Link. All the covers have links on them, so if you click the cover, you go to that place.
Yeah.
You can look at it. I'll put on the link for the Legacy and Bone Idol and Bones Kickstarter on there, and for the Global Comics. And you can also buy the stuff from Redbubble on there, can't you?
Yeah. Yes. acpgear.redbubble.com if you want to support the show and everything we do on a weekly basis. Where can people find us online, etc.? Tony?
Neveronanything.com or Tony Ez on Substack.
Nice, damn.
Yeah. You can find me on Twitter at Vanguard Comic, and you can read Vanguard at vanguardcomic.com.
Nice. You can find me on Instagram at Jester Diablo. Thank you very much for listening, everyone. Join us back next week for more comics chat, process, banter. Who knows what we're going to talk about next week? Well, we've got an idea what we're going to talk about next week.
Yeah.
But you'll just have to wait and see. So until that time, have a brilliant week. Read loads of comics. Keep making those comics, because we love you people making those comics. And let us know about them, because we won't read them. From all of us here in ACP Towers, have a brilliant week. And there's something else they should do, but I always forget it. What is it, guys?
Stay awesome.
Stay awesome.
Goodbye.
Bye. Goodbye.
On the back end.
Get on it. And in it.
On it, in it, all around it. Like the hokey cokey.
What, the shaft?
Say that again, but with in that voice.
What? The shaft?
I found my new favourite thing.
The shaft.
You can give me a blowjob, but I'd prefer it if you worked the shaft.
You got Vince.
I'll use that line tomorrow. Good morning. Have you worked the shaft this evening?
Stop it! I'll never get done.
Cut the balls.